Julia.
Hey guys, I am Julia. I oversee partnerships at Healf. So if you don't know, we are based out in London. We basically we sell the best global well-being brands. So yeah, we have I would say a relatively new affiliate program that is currently booming. So really excited to kind of have this chat and share with you guys kind of what's working. Yeah, really excited to kind of speak with you guys today. How about you, Zoe?
Awesome. Yeah, so my name's Zohaib. I oversee the growth side at Social Snowball. Funny enough, a lot of our growth is all through referrals and affiliate. We don't even run paid ads. So we follow a lot of the same strategies that brands like Health and other brands that are out there that are leveraging word of mouth to grow. That's what we're doing as well. So um, we can geek out about affiliate all day. I'm super excited about this.
Right on. Well, I guess it gets started, like I said, like this is not one of those, this is not a talk about necessarily, why you need an affiliate program or the benefits of an affiliate program. This is really getting into the layer of, you decided as a brand you're going to pursue an affiliate program or you already have an affiliate program. How do you actually get more competitive? How do you actually attract not just influencers, but an array of an affiliate spectrum that might make sense for your business, whether that be, athletes, whether that be practitioners, obviously influencers, ambassadors, there's all these sorts of types. And maybe that's kind of the best place to start on like what are classifications of affiliates these days. And I guess like to start, I'm gonna pass it over to Julia. You guys have been experimenting with thinking about this through like a segmented approach. Could you kind of take the audience through like how Health looks at affiliate personas?
Yeah, for sure. I think just to start, it's so important to kind of broaden what we mean when we say affiliates. I think a lot of people they just think bloggers or influencers. At Health, we really spent time thinking about essentially we are a well-being brand. We're in the well-being space. We This is what we champion, this is what we're about. And I think for us, in terms of affiliates, we want to be aligned with and partnered with people in the well-being space that kind of have that zest for life and have that passion for well-being as much as we do. And when we think of an affiliate, we think of those people with that passion, not necessarily a blogger or an influencer. I mean, of course, we have some of those in the roster, but I think, really just kind of broadening your vision and thinking outside the box is so incredibly important and taking time to brainstorm that as well before you kick things off. Um, and of course, pivoting where necessary as well. But I think in terms of us, we have multiple approaches. But our two main segments, I would say, because we are a well-being brand, are our ambassadors. So our brand ambassadors are kind of anyone who, like I said, anyone with a passion for well-being. We really don't limit it. I think it's important to be broad in this as well. But that said, we are very selective about who is a health ambassador in the same token. I think authenticity is our number one kind of value when we look for a brand ambassador. So making sure that they're so authentic in terms of sharing their well-being journey and their passion as well. Anyways, we've got our ambassadors, and then our second kind of persona, I would say, are our practitioners. So these are people, the intention partnering with a practitioner is slightly different, but these are people who are actively practicing in the well-being space, whether that may be a nutritionist, a naturopath, a holistic dentist. Gosh, we've got all sorts, but we've got, yeah, so I would say our main affiliates are our ambassadors and our practitioners. We can dive so much more into this during the
Yeah.
next hour into like what this means, but gosh, yeah, there's so much to go off. But I would say those are kind of our two main categories that we go for.
Right on. I want to come back in a bit to like some of the subtle dynamics and differences that come between like working with a practitioner and the do's and don'ts versus if you're going to
Yeah,
be working with
definitely.
like a regular like influencer. But before that, Zoe, I know at Social Snowball you guys are running affiliate platforms at such a crazy scale. I'm sure you're seeing kind of everything under the sun. Not to put you in the spot here, but like, we all think about influencers, ambassadors, that's pretty normal. But what are some of the weirder affiliates that you've seen brands latch on to in Social Snowball that have kind of been off the beaten path?
Yeah, so a lot of brands will think, okay, I gotta hit up people that like let's say if they are I don't know, they sell electronics or something. I need to talk to people that are techies, or I need to talk to people that are like specific like users of a product, but sometimes it's actually 1 or 2 degrees removed that might be like the cheaper, more like cost effective but creative, individual. So like I was just talking to a brand that they make t-shirts for guys, and essentially they had all these girlfriends and stuff like that talk about the t-shirts versus instead of hitting up the guys to do it. And still same with a skincare brand that makes skincare for guys. Like they had women talking about the skincare brand, but it was a skincare brand specifically for men, and they were talking about it in the perspective of like, okay, like, oh my God, I love a guy who has really great skincare, or I love a guy who has a really good fitted t-shirt. And, there's this brand I give to my boyfriend every time, and he looks 10 times better, right? One, the affiliate is uh I guess more cost effective that way to bring on, because they're not getting as many people reaching out to them about guys' clothes if they're a woman. And that one benefits the brand, but then also like, that post may get into a guy's feed and they're like, oh, well, this is cool. Like, a woman's talking about this, and I have a wife or I have a girlfriend and I want to impress her. Maybe I gotta buy that t-shirt because if she's impressed, maybe my girlfriend will be impressed or my significant other will be impressed. So like that's what I'm seeing like some brands start to do is look for like these 1 to 2 degree removed types of affiliates that would essentially like, maybe their content is gonna pop up for those the true ICP, the true ideal customer profile, but like, you know, like it ends up being a less competitive person that you're reaching out to because they're not typically talking about that
Yeah.
product. They're typically like, let's say it's a makeup girly, right? Like they're talking about is makeup stuff or girl products, but then like guy product comes through the door, then it's like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Why not? It's just like, I'll make an extra $50, $100, $200, whatever it is. Sometimes 1,000, depending on the affiliate or influencer. But that is what I'm seeing as like a new cheat code that a lot of brands are playing out with. So yeah.
That's actually super interesting, Zoe, because kind of going off of that a little, thinking about looking for people 1 or 2 degrees removed, I think it's so important as well to think about who your customer is and thinking about potentially affiliates who have an audience that reflects your customer. So maybe that affiliate isn't necessarily in the same space as you, but they have an audience that reflects your customer. For example, we've recently done a very successful collab with a tap company that sells filtered water taps, which sounds really cool. You know, the majority of products on Healf are supplements. I mean, we sell a whole range of stuff, but I think a lot of people think about Healf and they think of supplements, and primarily our eat category. But we actually partner with a tap company. And if you think about that, the people who are buying, the people who are investing in very expensive, high quality taps to filter their water are people who actually care about their health, even though they aren't the tap company is not necessarily in the well-being space. So I think that was, something really interesting as well. Thinking about potential partners where that actually have customers that would be attracted to health, even though they're not directly in that space.
Yeah, I feel like the traffic exchange opportunities when you do brand collaborations is such a cheat
Mm.
code, especially when you're doing the collaboration feature on TikTok and Instagram. So
Yeah,
like
super.
me personally, like I've seen some brands and I've done this myself is like when I'm interviewing someone, like even on this podcast type of thing that we're doing, right? This like webinar, imagine I create a reel off this content and then I add the individuals like Kenyon and Julia, on Instagram, and then add them as collaborators. That post is posting on their feed as well. So now what's happening is we're combining all three of our followers or audiences to essentially boost that post, and then all of the people that would typically see. Let's say Julia's post on their For You page. Now they're seeing my face on there too, potentially, or Kenyon's face. And that's such a cheat code for, I feel like, with brands. Have you done any sort of like collab, but like with the tabs, use case,
Mm.
the company that you're working with, what have you guys done in terms of distribution, in terms of content? Like how does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think with our content, we have done a huge rebrand this year, and we're really protective over our brand and our content that's going out right now. It's just the phase that we're in. So we don't, I think in terms of collabs, it's more we collab a lot with giveaways and stuff like that. So kind of more subtle content in terms of stories and stuff like that rather than reels. I think it's just the phase that we're in, but I completely agree with you. I think when you combine your brand's ecosystems, like the knock-on effect there can be huge. And it's definitely considering where your own brand is at. I think that's definitely a fantastic strategy to consider. Yeah.
I think those are so well said, especially I think that like a lot of that, like I love the shirts stuff. Like in going back to even taps too, is like it comes back to like the beauty of pattern disruption, like taking a persona who maybe they are affiliate in a lot of areas, but they haven't been an affiliate for this category, and how much that can disrupt the viewer experience. I think we could probably talk for hours on like how many types are emerging out there in like this affiliate space from pursuing like Zoeb says like cross category affiliates that Healf's also experimenting with to like there's this whole world of NIL opening with college athletes that's getting interesting. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world of B2B empowering brick and mortar businesses or hotels to become affiliates as well. And so it's really interesting to think about if you're a brand thinking about like maybe you have a program and you want to kind of expand that program, make just a massive list of like who is everybody you can make an affiliate, not just influencers. And that kind of is a nice segue into like kind of got a question here, Julia, going back to, you mentioned working with practitioners, you know, if you were to send the same exact messaging to all of your practitioners about becoming an affiliate, and it was the same exact messaging that you also are sending to just like regular ambassadors or influencers, I'm sure, the results might not be as great. So take us through, because I know that you guys think about this like really intensely. How do you kind of craft personalizing the offer and the messaging and the relationship when it comes to working with like a practitioner versus like a traditional ambassador? Like, what are the core things you consider needing to be different?
Yeah, I think just firstly, in terms of kind of your outreach strategy, it's so important. Like you said, right now, affiliate marketing can seem extremely saturated, and it's so important to stand out when you outreach. I think firstly, going off a little bit on the personalization side of things, but just in terms of kind of an outreach tip, thinking about, where are you going to find these people? We've always found the most success from actual existing customers. So people, especially on the ambassador side of things, people who have a social presence, who are existing customers, they're often extremely like receptive to the brand. People who have engaged with our social media content, I think these are definitely our first points of contact when it comes to outreach. But in terms of personalization, yeah, I think a lot of brands where they go wrong, honestly, is they just send the same template outreach message. And it's gotten to a point where these creators get so many messages, they can tell. They know. They can see through the bullshit. And I think it's so important that taking, those extra few seconds every outreach message to tailor it. I think that definitely, like numbers, it's a big numbers game. So it is important to kind of have a master template when it comes to your outreach messaging. But kind of what we do is we have that master template, but we also have a lot of sub templates depending on the different personas. So even within our ambassador and our practitioner communities, we have multiple different templates, and we'll even adjust those a little further depending on the person. So I think really tailoring your outreach is so incredibly important. I mean, how are you going to stand out? Like
So
there's so many brands. If I think especially, when you're crafting this messaging, put yourself in a creator's shoes for just, for an hour and think about, would I engage with this? If this came into my requested messages, would I engage with this? Maybe even be a bit more creative in terms of, maybe not an Instagram DM, maybe a LinkedIn, an email, even a handwritten letter. Like it really depends on who you're outreaching to, but a bit of effort goes a really, really, really long way. Especially in like a sea of outreach messages that these people get.
So yeah, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on that. So right
Yeah.
now, the big issue that I see with brands is I can't get through the inbox filters through Instagram. So you mentioned briefly like a letter, etc. How
Mm.
does outreach look like on alternative channels for you?
Yeah, I think it depends on who we're outreaching to. Like I said, just in terms of our two main communities, ambassadors and practitioners are, for example, our practitioners, a lot of them don't have social profiles. The aim of our practitioner program is actually for our practitioners to be referring health to their clients. So a lot of them don't have a social presence. For practitioners, groups work really well. There's a lot of practitioner groups. Emailing actually works quite well. LinkedIn works really well. For our ambassadors, I would honestly, it really depends on the person. I think our first point of contact always is Instagram, but we have a very diligent follow-up strategy. So if that doesn't work, we have option B,
And
C, D, E,
who's
F.
reaching out to these people? Did you hire someone
We
on
have a
staff?
team.
Okay, so you have a whole team
Yeah.
and they're not VAs or anything. They're in London, or is there like how does that work?
Yeah, we have a team. It's a mix, some virtual, some in person, but we have a team that specifically focuses on outreach. So I think, kind of having people with expertise in outreach is actually so important. I think a lot of people kind of negate the importance of outreach. They just think it's a numbers game and they don't, a lot of brands are not creative with it. And I think investing, like I said, investing time and investing resource in the outreach process is extremely important. What's also important is investing in the stage right after outreach, and personalizing that. So what is your what does your messaging look like in email 2, 3, 4? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
If they don't respond, what does that, do you write a handwritten letter? Is that something that you do? Just really like those little touches. And again, personalizing that to the message. I mean, we outreach to so many people a day, and I can say hands down that every single message is personalized to some extent.
Yeah. So you're talking about personalization a lot. I wanted to understand like how important has, gifting and personalizing the gift been with the influencers or affiliates that you're working with to post content.
Yeah, for sure. So with gifting, we again personalize. A lot of it is very personalized. Um, we have different ambassador tiers. We have a tier system. So for our ambassadors, I do think that incentivizes them to keep engaging with health, keep speaking about health. Depending on the tier, the gifting does differ. However, for our higher tier ambassadors, that gifting is completely personal. So we do it monetarily. So they get up to a certain amount per month. And they can kind of choose whatever they like. I think what is really important about gifting is that every single affiliate's every single affiliate has a slightly different audience and they know their audience best. So, especially in terms of health, where we sell so many different products, that affiliate will know which product their audience wants to see. And that may be different to the next affiliate. And I think that's actually a really important point because a lot of affiliate programs will gift their 1,000 affiliates the exact same product every month. Will their audience resonate with that product? Not necessarily. So I think that's, especially if your brand does offer a range of products, that is extremely important to consider.
So I have a question for you, Julie. So,
Mm.
we've been working together for a couple months now. It's been
Yeah,
awesome to see your program grow. Very, very rarely do I see like the level of engagement in a program that I've seen with Health as far as how like the relationship you have with the affiliates as far as like whenever there's been questions like I've just it's been great to see how collaborative you are, the dialogues that are happening across many threads and as well as like the retention you've had with the amount of people who have engaged in the program, have recommended products, curated products, share those product lists all across socials. Like I don't know if there's a secret sauce to how you've created that relationship. Maybe it's just you and you got like that health charm that you're bringing to the table. But you know, you've great like absolute gold on the personalization front on outreach. I'm curious, like when you get from like outreach to transitioning to activation,
sure.
getting them to share, getting them to like stay engaged in the dialogue. That's where a lot of brands struggle and um things tend to fall off and momentum will slow with a particular influencer, affiliate, or practitioner. Like, what have you kind of deployed from a strategy standpoint to keep things alive?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to preface this with not every affiliate will be around for 5 years. Like sometimes their audience just is saturated, and that's something that you do need to look out for. But in terms of your question, I think we engage with our affiliates in so many different ways. And I think it really, like, that's kind of what keeps them on their toes. Number one, Kenny, what we've created with you, the Healf stores, I think that is a huge needle mover. So essentially, to brief everyone if they don't know, our affiliates get access to their own personal Healf store. So this is where they can curate their own collection of their favorite well-being essentials, which they can then give to their audience through their link, which is via Social Snowball, which is where Zoe comes in. um, these Healf stores, I think, has been so motivating for affiliates because it just adds so much value to their audiences. Their audience wants to see their well-being recommendations, and this is just such an easy way to do it. I also think the setup of the Healf store, just the working of it is so simple and it's so easy. And I think for affiliates to be engaged and just, keep producing with your brand, things need to be really simple. If things get complicated, they don't have time. Like they'll move on to the next brand. So just the process of the Healf stores and setup, and they can keep altering their stores. We have Klaviyo flows going out suggesting different collections depending on the season. So, really keeping them involved through the Healf store, I think, is number one. I think number two, we have monthly newsletters. So these newsletters go out to our ambassadors or our practitioners. They're slightly different depending on the persona, but these newsletters kind of give them, the intel into Healf and what's going on. We even have ambassador and practitioner spotlights in the newsletters. So, anything really cool that our ambassadors are doing in in the well-being community, they'll get spotlighted in the newsletter. Little things like that really makes them feel valued, I think, is just so important. I think of a lot of ambassadors when they, start working with a brand. Yes, they're working with a brand, but do they feel part of a community?
Mm.
I think that's the key. If they don't feel part of a community, it's so easy for them to leave. But I
Yeah,
think once you hook
people
them
want to feel
into that
valued. Yeah.
community and they feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, I
Hmm.
think that's kind of when, they really get hooked. Um, One final point, I know I'm speaking my mouth off, but one final point is we are extremely intentional with who we partner with. So yes, we are, doing this mass outreach, but when we outreach, we're extremely intentional with who we actually follow up with. And when I mean intentional, I'm really speaking about we want to be partnering with people obsessed with well-being. We want to be partnered with people who naturally, they want to speak about well-being on their platforms. They're obsessed with it themselves, so them creating content and integrating Healf into their content is actually really easy for them, and it doesn't feel forced in any way. And I think when you partner with the right people, they're much less likely to leave you. So I think really being critical from that initial step is actually really important as well, because yeah, I think otherwise, you're just putting in so much effort into the relationship and eventually it's going to fizzle.
Yeah. I wanted to actually, like, I see a question here in the chat from Hudson,
Yeah.
and he asked, and I'm going to show it on the stream here. But since the space is saturated with ambassadors, is it more about value and earning potential for the ambassador, as the main hook in your initial outreach or whatever? But I want to follow up with how important does your like the branding of Health play in even recruiting the affiliate as well? Like, is it a monetary thing as to why someone would sign
Mm,
up? Is it a brand thing? Because, you know, people have to, like, I guess for me personally, if I'm to recommend a brand, it's usually a brand that's already kind of known, but not
yeah.
sure if that's a different perspective on the affiliate side. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah. So firstly, in terms of intentional outreach, like I said, our most successful outreach that we do is to people who are already in the Healf sphere. They're already buying from Healf. They're already interacting with our social content. Those people, it's actually very easy to bring them on board since they're already interacting with us. They're engaging. They're kind of in that sphere already. I think it's really difficult to rope someone in, and it requires a lot more monetary incentive, a lot more persuasion when they aren't already in that sphere if you're not a huge brand. If you're Dolce and Gabbana or something, like that's very different. But I think if you aren't a huge brand, really start engaging with your customers first, people who are already shopping with you. I think secondly, it honestly, guys, from my experience, it depends on the person. Like thinking about your thinking about affiliates and thinking about their motivations to partner with you, it's so personal. It's so personal. And as you outreach and get to know your affiliates, you'll start to kind of get to know the type of people you're attracting, and you can adjust your outreach messaging accordingly. Something that we do is playing into that relationship building with our affiliates. We just speak to our affiliates a lot about their experience, about their motivations. We conduct focus groups. We are just so intent on understanding our current affiliates so well so that we kind of know their intentions and we can outreach with a lot more focus. So I think really, really getting to know your people and that community that you've created is so incredibly key to kind of a successful program.
And something I think like Julie just adding that I'm curious to hear if you agree or disagree, but I think
Mm,
something that Health has going for it that other brands could adopt in a scenario where they don't have the brand equity of Health is you guys have a massive catalog, and
yeah,
there's benefits to having a huge catalog, um, in the sense that like it gives you a more prescriptive way to recruit an affiliate and give them a vision for how they can create content for you. Um, and I don't know if you do this much yourself in your outreach because you guys have that equity and in that relationship already, but I wonder if for brands who maybe haven't unlocked that relationship yet at scale with their customer base, if they think creatively on how to use their catalog, you can supplement that on top of the monetary benefit to say like, yes, we give this percent back on sales. Yes, we're going to gift and seed you, but also on top of that, we have 250 products in our catalog, and here's like five different stories you could probably tell with this catalog as far as putting them together and creating content and use cases. So I don't know if you
yeah,
feel like that is something you're seeing in reality, but I've always wondered how much that plays in you guys.
yeah, for sure. I think something really cool about Health is, like you said, we have a huge, huge catalog. Like we pretty much stock something for every single kind of aspect of well-being. So that really adds value. And like you said, if there is a brand that has even 5 products, really emphasizing that variety um, in your outreach, I think is so important because something that I've noticed with ambassadors is that their needs change, their wants change over time. They don't want to be reiterating the same story about your brand. It's boring. Their audience isn't going to want to hear the same story about your brand over and over and over. They're going to want to hear, a similar story. Of course, you need to keep the tone in mind, but like you just change it up a bit. For just from our perspective, we are a well-being brand. So for example, we'll have an ambassador that is currently focusing on their sleep, so they'll speak about their sleep products. Maybe next month they're focusing on their nutrition. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I also get my supplements from here. And then they speak about their nutrition. So I think really emphasizing the stories they can create by partnering with your brand, in terms of the different products and the variety, is so important. Of course, if you only sell 1 or 2 products, the value add to partnering with you is going to be it's completely different. But if you do have variety, I just think the ability to create different stories, and kind of create content around that to your audience is really, really valuable as well.
Now, how hands off are you with these creators? Are you giving them some sort of brand guideline
Yeah.
packet? You have to make content like ABC, or are you just saying, here's the product, figure it out? How does that look
Yeah,
like for
sure. So our top value is authenticity, and like we want all content to be authentic and organic. We always say that creators know their audience better than we do. They know they know what performs for them. And like I said, that kind of goes with the product gifting. They know what products their audience is going to respond to more than we do. So saying that, we let them retain their creative freedom. However, we give a creative like social guide. Now that what that guide says is kind of, this is Healf, this is who we are, this is how we speak. Keep this in mind, as you're speaking about Healf, but please keep your creative freedom. We want you to inject your personality into your story. We want you to inject your own energy. We don't want to take away from that in any way. Now, I think, like I said with the outreach messaging, social media has gotten so used to things, and affiliate, all this affiliate stuff is just so saturated nowadays. Like I said with the outreach messaging, people can just see when it's a template. I think creating stories through like product gifting and organic storytelling on Instagram, for example, if that's not organic and authentic, if there is kind of a brief and it's really scripted, people can tell. People can tell immediately. Like, no matter if they put hashtag ad, people can just tell. So I think that's something that we've really noticed, and yeah, it just doesn't perform as well when it's not authentic. So yes, we do give them guidelines, but it's more so, here is a guide. This is how we speak as a company. Take what you will, and leave what you don't.
What's one piece of content that worked really well for Health?
Gosh, there's one piece of content.
Like your
Oh, you're
favorite piece of content that was created by a creator to date for Health. I know I put you on the
yeah,
spot, but like
yeah,
has to be something that was super creative that you were like, like this is pretty wild and it worked really well.
yeah. I think one of our ambassadors, she took her supplement routine around the world, which was so cool. Just like the visuals that she got there. And I think she did this whole, it was a 3 frame story. It honestly could have been a reel, but it was a 3 frame story. And she took her well-being routine kind of like around the world with her and showed it in so many different states. But I think the message there was like, this is my staple. This is what I take everywhere with me. And it was the story behind it. I just think a powerful story that's also simple though, like it shouldn't be too long. It was just really snappy and visually very, it was fantastic. But that performed incredibly well. Interestingly though, what we did out of that is we directed that video to a bundle that we created for her. So this routine that she kind of brought with her around the world, we connected her link to her own personalized bundle, and people could buy that bundle. So that is kind of an interesting activation that we did off the back of this story.
That's really sick. So she made the
Yeah.
video first, and then you guys were like, "Oh wait, we have an opportunity here.
Yeah, so
Let's."
she actually sent through the video first. We didn't ask her to, but she just sent it through. She was like, "Hey guys, I've made this video." I think she wanted to ask if we can repost it on our story, which yeah, I mean we did.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was kind of, usually we never get them to kind of send the content through before, or rarely.
Yeah.
I
So
mean it does
sometimes
depend, but
creators can dictate your product offerings. Is that what you're saying? Like how you bundle or structure a product?
I if it adds value to us, then yes. But
Yeah.
I think there is such a value add. I mean, look, these are creators who are so passionate about well-being. I mean, they are their own influencer in the well-being space. And I think the fact that they have such influence, and the fact that, for example, for this girl, this was her daily well-being routine, that deserves a bundle on our site.
Yeah. That thread in general is what has me so excited about the future of creators. I think TikTok Shop has almost like taking like the best part of TikTok Shop to me is it's been like this ultimate training experience for creators to think about how do I make content that can
Mm,
convert and like pairs really nicely with products. It's like university for creators, and I'm just like so excited to see how creators can continue to think about how does it naturally lead into like the shopping funnel, which is
mm.
something you like a creator would have like given a shit about like if you asked them like a year ago, 2 years ago, but we're just like going through this almost like affiliate cultural moment right now.
Kenyon, I wanted
Yeah,
to
true.
ask you about that bundle thing that we were just talking about. That would be like a great use case for like a creator commerce type of thing, right? Like,
I think so, yeah. I think absolutely. Like, I think this sounds like this definitely happened before we started working with Health, but like, if this was happened since they've launched on Creator Commerce. That would have been like a no-brainer, amazing co-branded shopping experience that the creator could have just made when they like instead of sending the video over to Julia, they could have uploaded the video to their shop and
Mm.
then made the landing experience that matched the video. It would have
So I want to ask both of you guys the follow-up to that then. Like what type of creators or uh I guess like I guess influencers or whatever you want to call them would be ideal to have a landing page for Health or on the creator commerce side in general. Yeah, I guess I'll let one of you guys just jump in.
Yeah, Julia, I guess I'll start with like what I'm seeing on my side, which is like we're seeing that the creators, I'll just even more say broadly affiliates, the ones who have been generally making sense to have landing pages are ones who have an actual story to tell that makes a product
Mm.
catalog more approachable. So like tip this can
Yeah.
oftentimes be, you know, if there's more than five, more than 10 products in the catalog, take a fashion brand, take what Help's doing, a supplement line. Um, Anybody who has more to tell about a specific set of SKUs than what you're going to glean by like landing on a one size fits all homepage are the ones who are absolutely have like a no-brainer opportunity to add value to their own pocketbook by like just like they can create a funnel that's more efficient than going to homepage. Has made a lot of sense. And what's been what's blown my mind is how much that's expanded from scope from just not just being influencers or ambassadors, but we're seeing this with practitioners with products they would actually prescribe these are products they literally bring up in visits, but also going into like even just other businesses. Like if you are a surf shop, we have a great use case right now where there's a surf shop who doesn't have an online store, but they have a surf brand they would really love, and they sell a couple of their boards in the store, but not as many as they'd like to. So they have this online store with another surf brand where they have like 20, 30 boards that they recommend because they don't have that much physical space in the store to sell all those. So anybody who has a story to tell, distilling SKUs has been incredibly effective. Um, I don't know, Julie, if you have another. Uh,
Yeah, I was gonna say anyone who kind of also works within a niche that kind of your company is in. So for example, health, we're in the well-being space. I mean, practitioners are probably the easiest example, but if you're a sleep expert, you know, like your audience follows you because of your sleep tips. They probably don't follow you because of, I mean, like anything else well-being related. Like they follow you for that specific niche. Another niche actually that we actually work with really closely is dentistry, holistic dentistry. Now, this is a really interesting one. So we sell some fantastic holistic dental products. Now, if you follow a dentist on Instagram, you know, are you following them for the Therabody recovery boots? Probably not. Like you're probably, you know, I think people like that, they can create fantastic collections. Um, yeah, I think when it comes to people who just speak about well-being more generally, they don't necessarily need a collection page. Saying that though, even if it may not add as much value to their audience, I will say it makes them feel valued as an ambassador, being able to create a collection page. So in terms of affiliate retention from the brand side, it's so important.
So we have a question from
yeah.
Anubhav, and he asked a really cool one. So is there a way that brands can measure the impact of an influencer on the demand of a certain product or SKU? So I wanted to ask you, Julia, like
Hmm.
what tools, to add on to that question, what tools are you using? Is there anything specific on Shopify that you're looking at to do this tracking? So.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. It's definitely difficult, especially for our company because we have thousands of SKUs. I think for a company with like 5 SKUs, this would probably be a bit easier. But we do a monthly deep dive into our Shopify analytics. We are extremely like super data driven in terms of, you know, when we make decisions, especially for gifting, firstly, who is driving revenue and also which products are driving revenue. Um, so yeah, we will do, I mean, 2 deep dives in terms of analytics. We'll look at firstly the products that people have been promoting, but secondly, we'll just look at our top performing products as a brand, sorry, as a company, and we will tend to, well, we will try and push those products in the next month. So yeah, but I will say this is definitely an area. I don't have a solid answer for this. It's 100% an area that we can improve on. And when you have so many SKUs, it's difficult.
Yeah, I've seen some brands like, for example, like what Social Snowball does, and a lot of these other like Recharge, Skio,
Mm.
etc. will do as well as like they'll tag Shopify orders.
Yeah, so we
Um,
do that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they'll look at like the first, transaction, but yeah, it's still not perfect, right? Because there's no way to know what directly influenced the thing, but I guess it's usually just directional, I feel like, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also thinking about we also gift depending on the person and their niche. So like I said, just using the dentist example again, if a dentist is performing really well, those people, there is a bit of assumption in this, but they are mostly buying those dental products. So it really depends. But yeah, there's not right now, I think there's definitely scope for improvement in terms of like analytics and tracking there 100%. If anyone has any ideas, please shout in the chat.
Yeah, fun fact, I was a pre-dental dropout.
No way.
Like I applied to
Oh my
dental school and
gosh, you could have been
everything.
in our practitioner program.
I know.
You
I was
still might
like,
be.
I was about to become a dentist and I was like, I applied to dental school, was doing research, everything. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go to school for another 4 years. So
Yeah.
here I am, selling software. All right, cool. So Gabriella just asked, do you find that when using Social Snowball Smart Links works better than
Mm,
a simple discount code or not? Because she's having
yeah.
issues with affiliates being confused on the concept of a smart link. So how are you guys, or if you guys are using smart links or not, or safe links or not,
Yeah.
and how has that experience been like with
Yeah.
affiliates?
So we use safe links, we don't use codes. The primary reason is because codes often leak. It's a huge issue nowadays with things like Honey, those like just web add-ons. And yeah, it's been a huge issue for us. So we do use safe links. I think the most important thing is to educate your affiliates as soon as they're onboarded. So in our onboarding document, we actually give them the why behind the safe link. So they're just a lot. I think it's just a case of not being used to a safe link. A lot of affiliates just haven't used them before. It's not safe links being worse than codes. It's just, kind of uncharted territory. So we have a very, very simple document outlining. We actually have a video embedded in that document to show exactly how the safe link works. Um, and also just giving the why behind the safe link, because then they understand. In terms of is it better, I think a safe link is so much better. And I say that because, well, number one, it's tracked via cookies. So as soon as they click on that link, the discount code is automatically applied at checkout. And if they leave their browser and come back, it's tracked for 30 days. So that is an argument that, when you're giving the why behind the safe link, we actually say this to affiliates because they're actually a lot more orders are gonna come through the link than if someone used code, for sure.
Yeah, the cookie attribution is a cheat code to
Yeah.
get the affiliate to buy in. Also, what's nice is people can start educating these affiliates on Honey and saying that when you leverage a tool like Honey, it actually steals what they're attempting to do is steal the attribution away from you,
Mm.
aka affiliate. So let's say if someone doesn't use your link or doesn't properly use your code because there's a better code available or something, like you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
That's one thing,
So I
yeah.
think really just educating them and giving them the why. And usually it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Work
Yeah.
it
Kenny,
into
did
your
you have a question?
recruitment. Put it in your, going back to personalizing it, like
Yeah.
work that into your recruitment. That maybe that's not an email number one, but we can work that into the funnel of like if you're trying to get someone over the line, like it's another piece of ammo to throw into a bullet point as to why this brand, why this partnership.
Yeah, I mean, I do think having safe links is advantageous compared to discount codes. I just think that, like I said, it's uncharted territory, so people see it and immediately are like, hang on a second. But at the end of the day, just it's a one-liner, educate them, and 99% of the time, they'll be like, yeah, let's go for it.
I'll
100.
say props to brands like Health for doing that education en masse to help all these downstream brands save their breath.
Yeah, true.
So I wanted to ask both of you guys, what are some inspiration affiliate programs that you guys look at to, I guess on Kenyan side, pitch people on
Mm.
creator commerce, and then for you, Julia, like what are some brands you look up to in terms of structuring your affiliate program?
Go for it, Kenyon.
And that's brands that we're seeing, or brand like just like in general, like
Just in
best
general,
programs we're
like
seeing.
when you're building your case, not case studies, but strategic plays for the brands that you're working with, right? For the landing page front, what brands are you typically inspired by, or are using your tool, let's say, really effectively?
Yeah, that is a great question. Um, I guess to answer that, I'd say one of the brands that's had my attention lately has been, and this is so topical, but this is just, I guess it just pops into my head right now, is like seeing what, Zoe, we've been talking a little bit with like John over at Modern Shelving and Tandem. This one just is, I guess, memory recency that's popped in my head. But what's been interesting to me about the way Tandem's like a surf brand, and they're a new customer for us. They're not like live. This is not a case study or kind of endorsement of our tool on this, but it's been interesting to see how they're looking at using affiliate to build their B2B business, which I guess Healf is experimenting with a little bit. I talked a little bit with Sam over at Healf as well, which is the angle they're taking is to kind of warm up more wholesale business. They're actually using their affiliate model to get their foot in the door to say like, hey, you don't have to take on the risk of buying a bunch of our surfboards and like cluttering your stores with our surfboards. You can actually get a storefront that you can at least start with e-commerce sales and basically drop ship with an e-commerce storefront that represents your brand in partnership with us. And actually to get a flavor for if it makes sense for you to be a wholesale customer for our brand. So um, I think what I'm inspired by is seeing how affiliate can continue to grow and play a bigger role in helping wholesale departments actually grow their book of business by getting more businesses on affiliate to validate if they could actually be a wholesale customer later on. And I think it kind of funnels into like this circular vision Shopify is trying to build about how all these things kind of circle around Shopify. I think that's kind of what has me excited. So yeah, that was one that just came to mind, just like a side note, but a random brand that I also think is just doing some cool stuff with affiliate is Bandit Running. If you haven't seen them, not a customer of ours, but doing just some really cool things I think with like not only spreading the word on like how brands can refer Bandit and be an affiliate, but they're also going out there and they're getting affiliate links from complementary brands as well as a way to add value to affiliates. So what
Mm,
they're saying is like, yes, be an affiliate for Bandit. Here's an affiliate link for you. But by the way, we also went to ASICS and got you an affiliate link with ASICS, and we went to Gainful and got you an affiliate link with Gainful. So here's a bunch of referral links for you, so that you can more easily create content around our running products, but also other things that relate to running. So here
wow.
you go.
Wow. Okay,
Very
so Julia, yeah, what about you? What are some brands that you're inspired by in terms of your affiliate program structure?
Yeah, I think we we are in a huge testing phase at the moment. But I think in terms of inspiration, my mind immediately jumps to Runner. I don't know if you guys in the US.
No,
I
I've
know it's
not heard
huge
of
in
it.
the
What is
UK.
that?
No
Yeah.
way. Oh my God, it's huge in the UK. Runner is basically an app that helps with running training. But
Mm.
it's a really sexy brand. They've done such a good job kind of speaking to their customer as well. But they basically create running plans to help people, motivate people, essentially train for 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, etc. Now, they really, really foster a sense of community with their ambassadors. And I think that's something that really, really inspires me. Like the extent to which they foster community is actually insane. And I know that when people join Runner, they just feel like they're part of something. They feel like they're part of something bigger. Um, I think as well they've just added so much value with their affiliates. Also in terms of the branding, they've been really creative with how they've done it. They've got I mean, it's a running app. It's very simple, the concept. They've got merch, they've got like they do a lot of in-person events. Yeah, they just really kind of play into that community aspect and making the affiliates feel valued. And I think that's something that we're constantly trying to work on. I was emphasizing the part of community before.
Yeah, you
Also what
mentioned
Runner do,
events. Events, like how often are you guys doing events at Health for the people?
yeah, for sure. Um we aren't focusing on events right now, just in terms of our Q1 strategy. We were. This year we're changing our strategy with events a little bit because we're building up to a really big event later in the year, which I can't say anything about.
Okay.
But I think in the past, just because we were a smaller company, we kind of were often piggybacking off of other brands in terms of events. Now we're growing. We really want to, be a big player in the event. Like we don't want to be just gifting. So I think we're kind of reevaluating our strategy there. Yeah, so I think in terms of what Runner are doing, it's just really inspiring me, in terms of kind of how they foster that sense of community.
All right, you got to
Awesome.
answer too now, Zoe.
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
What's inspiring you?
yeah, so there's this brand called Curl Mix. I mean, Divi is also another one that I really, really like enjoyed their affiliate program. Why? Because they've created almost like a movement. I don't know if you guys saw the Simply Living documentary on Netflix, but like they've enabled people so much with education about their product that now those people are evangelizing it for free, not even for a commission, and setting up communities on Facebook groups and stuff like that, teaching people, hey, this is how you can take care of your hair. These are the supplements to use. This is, styling tips, etc., etc. But all centered around their products. Okay, that's one. But then they
Nice.
level it up with, they're looking for people who are creating content already about their brand for free, and then reaching out to them to become affiliates. So,
So that
because
strategy is perfect. Yeah.
yeah, like they've created
Yeah.
the community. The community is literally creating free content. They'll talk about their brand products, and then they're reaching out to people who are basically vetted influencers. And it's just like so meta. Like I just feel like I feel like there was like an Inception kind of trick going on here, right? So, uh, that those are two interesting programs. So Curl Mix and Divi Official.
Nice.
Okay, so Katja just asked us a question, and I think this question comes up literally on every webinar I'm in. But do you have trouble getting affiliates to actually post when they receive the product, and how do
Mm,
you deal with these issues?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes. I think I think when you don't have strict guidelines with posting, when you want it to be authentic and stuff like that, it can be really difficult. For us, we put a very short line, that essentially says we can only continue supporting you if we see traction on your link. So it's a very short line. I think that really does incentivize them. At the end of the day, if people listen, at the end of the day, if people are not posting organically about us, we do not really want to be working with them. If they're not obsessed with health and they genuinely want to be sharing our company, honestly, we don't want to be forcing them to do anything. So I think that's kind of the way we approach it. Of course, different brands will approach it slightly differently. But essentially, every time we gift product, we are looking at data. We are looking at ROIs. We are making sure that that person, is going to post. And often we'll say, hey, we can't gift you product this month, but please use the product that we've gifted before. And if you want to continue working with us, make content from that, and we give some content ideas. So really kind of incentivizing them to use what they already have and not wasting your resource, I would say. Listen,
So
data speaks volume.
that first product, you guys are already being like, okay, there's no strings attached. This person may or may
Yeah.
not post. But that second gift is where it's like, we give you this if you start posting. Otherwise, you're not getting anything.
Um, it's really case by case basis and it depends on the tier that they're in.
Uh-huh.
If they're in our slightly lower tier, we do put a disclaimer that they need to post with the product. If they're in a higher tier, we don't.
Okay.
Um, But to get to that higher tier, you need a certain amount of revenue. So those people most likely are posting anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're already incentivizing them to post
Yeah.
because they're in the higher tier, or
No,
to get to the higher
exactly.
tier. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
But essentially, we once you get to that higher tier, when I say we can continue supporting you, that means with gifting, that also means with event support, that also means with access to campaigns, access to help like health events as well as their own events. It's a whole kind of breadth of stuff. So kind of showing them what they're missing if we don't see traction on their link. And by the way, this doesn't just go for not posting. This also goes for people posting and just not really performing. I think it's so important to be strict about it. As much as you like the creator, if you want to grow your program, if they're not performing, you just have to be strict about it.
You got
For
to know
sure.
when to use the carrot and know when to use the stick. And
Yes.
really,
That's
Pretty
mad
much,
aggressive.
yeah. There you
Oh,
go.
g- oh gosh.
Nice one,
Okay.
Brendan.
Well, we're about to hit time, everyone. So I wanted to give everyone an opportunity just to let people know where they can reach out to you on socials, email, whatever it is. So, Kenny, if you want to
yeah,
people
you can
know.
find me on LinkedIn. I try to be pretty active there. Hit me up anytime. I'm just Kenyon Brown. Throw in the word Critter Commerce, you'll definitely find me. Twitter, you can find me Kenyon_Brown. But yeah, hit me up anytime. Definitely down to talk about how to win that heart of those affiliates. Diversify.
What about you, Julia?
Yeah, for sure. Same on LinkedIn. Julia Etman again, if you just type in health, I'll come up right there. And probably email, I would say would be the best one. Julia.e@healf.com.
Awesome.
This is recorded, right? In case people forget that.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
the
this
Okay,
is
email
yeah.
already said, yeah.
We'll
So
make
Wait
just
for
some
the
Julia
emails.
dot letter E at health.com. Yeah, contact me through there. I also go through our Instagram DMs all the time. So if you want to DM health, go for it.
Awesome. And then, yeah, for me, you guys can hit me up via email, zoheb@socialsnowball.io, or hit me up on LinkedIn or Twitter. It's just my first name, last name. Since my name is pretty unique, you'll find me pretty quick. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching today, and we will be sending out a recording. So in case you missed any part of this, we will have a recording available for you guys. And be sure to check out some of the reels that we're going to be posting. So thanks everyone. Have an
Cool.
awesome rest of your week.
Thanks, guys. See
Everybody.
ya.
Bye
Bye.
bye.